Hey guys, it's Doris. Alright. So, I wanted to do a little video of AEW news just to keep you guys updated on what's going on over there. So, uh, Tony Khan has claimed that due to the investigation AEW is doing into the CM Punk Jack Perry incident, he is unable to to comment on the status of CM Punk. We have been informed that Punk and Perry have both been suspended, and that, according to a report on Punk, it has been reported that he wanted to quit AEW after All In. He had a backstage confrontation. Perry, as you know, a source who is not a wrestler and is a neutral person, said that Punk sucker punched Perry. While that situation still unfolds with investigations, his fans are still buying merchandise. WrestleNomics noted that Punk's category on the Shop AEW site was the most popular by far over the last week. This could be due to all the extra attention that Punk has received since his little backstage brawl with Perry. They're saying that possibly some fans decided to pull the trigger on Punk merchandise, thinking that he was not going to be in AEW, or AEW would not be selling his stuff forever. So, as you know, there's been a lot of differing reports. Some people are saying that Punk also got into a confrontation with Miro at All In and invited Miro to go outside. The two did not get physical, but that story also has been contradicted by other people who were at All In, saying that situation never happened. They're saying that the CM Punk Samoa Joe match almost never happened. If Joe had not stepped up as a leader and kind of convinced Punk to meet his contractual obligations and do the match. Punk was escorted out of the building after the match, or was asked to leave after the match. So, as of right now, both are suspended. No one is making any statements concerning the two or the situation. As I said, AEW is doing an investigation, so we can expect no one to really be talking until that investigation is done. In my opinion, Punk, it has been rumored that Punk is incredibly hard to work with. He has a huge ego, and if the reports that I'm reading are correct, according to some sources, Tony Khan put Punk in some sort of a position of power to be a decision maker on the tapings and the show of Collision. If that is true, shame on you, Tony Khan. You should have known better. With somebody like Punk, you don't want to give them the little bit of power at all. And apparently the situation with Punk and Perry stemmed back from a taping of Collision, where Punk intervened on the creativity of Perry, saying that Perry couldn't do something, and that Perry could go home if he didn't want to follow the rules of the show. So, I mean, I don't feel like Punk... I feel like Punk should be... I mean, he has spent less than 50% of his full contract actually performing. The rest of the time, he's either been suspended or injured, or just not kind of like in the world kind of floating around, not under contract. So, I mean, he's just proving all of the rumors right, that he is incredibly hard to work with and he doesn't think of anyone but himself. That is what I am taking from it. Like I say, all I have to go on is reports of other interviews with other wrestlers that have been done and their comments on what Punk is like to work with. He's never had a good track record at every company he's worked with. He's had issues with people and backstage brawls with people and physicality with other people. But enough on Punk. Dennis Rodman is supposedly going to be debuting in AEW. What is he going to be doing, you ask? He is going to be in Chicago. He's supposed to be on Collision. So they're not saying exactly what he's going to be doing on the show, but that he will be on Collision. They sent out an update on social media to let fans know that Dennis Rodman is set for Collision. This should be a nice show for Chicago fans as well. Rodman spent many nights at the United Center, but this week's appearance will be very different. It's unclear if Rodman will get physical like Shaq did, but he did have an infamous match in WCW years ago, if you remember. He was part of the New World Order. Darby Allin has released a statement saying that he's not 100%. At the show in London, he really messed up his spine. I'm trying to take it easy before Sunday. He said, my lower back is really banged up. At the show in Wembley, I jumped off the top rope and landed on a metal coffin on my lower spine. Luchasaurus, he's a huge dude. I think a lot of it has to do with where I'm willing to go in that ring. A lot of people aren't willing to go there, and I'm willing to go mentally. I can take a big butt kicking when things are going there. Are things I'm capable of that I believe nobody else is. Darby is set to challenge Luchasaurus for the TNT Championship at All Out this weekend. Yes, it's a different pay-per-view. They had All In last weekend. All Out is this weekend. Tony Khan was asked about doing back-to-back pay-per-views, and he said he tried to get them sold in a package, but that the streaming and cable companies couldn't figure out how to do that. Daniel Bryan, if you've been wondering why he has not been in the ring, he did break his arm back in June. He is supposed to be returning. He had surgery on it in July. They're not saying exactly when he will be returning, but that he will be returning soon. They're thinking that Wrestle Dream will be when he returns. It's in Seattle. That's where Brian's from. But they're not positive if he'll be able to make his return. That is in October, if you didn't know. So we'll have to see if he's good to go by October. Bandito also will be making his return after injury. So he competed with Chris Jericho last year on Dynamite. His contract status after that was always a topic of discussion, and that's why he finally inked a deal with Tony Khan. That being said, Bandito is set to make his return to AEW soon after suffering an injury earlier this year. He picked AEW over WWE as he did not want to move. Bandito would go on to compete in a few matches after signing with the company, as fans wanted to see more of the talented star. During his match with Konosuke Takeshita On June 14th edition of Rampage, Bandito suffered a broken wrist and would undergo successful surgery for the same back in July. So he had surgery in July. He should be making his return soon. Apparently, AEW ended up nixing the big entrance for Jim Ross returning due to the CM Punk Jack Perry fiasco. So poor Jim Ross got screwed. So, and apparently, so they changed the coffin match at All In. It was a real bummer for AR Fox fans because he didn't get to make the trip to the UK. There was some heat on AR Fox over the situation. There was something wrong with his paperwork and he hadn't worked an international event in years. There was apparently a reason for that. Sean Sapp noted behind Fightful's paywall that AEW feels AR Fox was not forthcoming about a situation with All In. The company booked him anyway, and even though he apparently knew wrestling in London would be an issue. We're told that AR Fox was planned for the match with Swerve Strickland against Sting and Darby Allin at All In, unlike the situation with Rey Fenix, where he was never truly set for the match and was planned to be removed. It was noted to Fightful that Fox hasn't worked international dates since 2016, and the company did not feel like he was forthright about his ability to work outside the country. Though we haven't heard exactly why he couldn't, ultimately the late switch caused what we saw unfold on Dynamite with AR Fox taking a pin, losing to Nick Wayne. We're told that despite being well liked in the company, there was heat on him for the situation. The report went on to say there was some discussion regarding his status with Mogul Embassy affiliates and whether or not he should stay, but ultimately the split was decided on. We'll have to see how AEW is able to work with AR Fox into things from this point on. He has a lot of potential and is finally getting a chance to perform on a national stage. Sadly, he couldn't get things sorted out at all in time for All in London. So yeah, that's the story of why that match was changed. Apparently he knew he couldn't wrestle in London and didn't say anything. If you didn't know, AEW did give some of their talent time off this week to attend Wyndham Rotunda's funeral services, Kenny Omega being one of them. Saraya being another. So there were some people that did take time off to attend that. Saraya, we've heard in the past, was very close to Rotunda. They're saying that part of his not being on Dynamite was that because of the hurricane, he could not get a flight. Meltzer noted that a lot of the Florida guys, including Kenny Omega, had trouble making flights due to Hurricane Idalia. That hurricane is still making its way up the coast, but it's diminished as it goes. It was noted that AEW was thrown together this week. Even Tony Khan admitted before the show that they were having problems putting the show together. Kenny Omega couldn't make it to Chicago for AEW Dynamite due to the hurricane, but he would still be at All Out. Hopefully AEW doesn't have any other unexpected problems because they have experienced a lot of those recently. So yeah, between the hurricane and getting time off for the services, a lot of people did not show up and were pulled. And apparently there was a shot of the crowd that has been referred to as embarrassing. AEW brought, as you know, Dynamite was in Chicago, and with Punk not being there. So photos of the crowd from the Now Arena this week surfaced, and there was a lot of room to go before the company could sell. They had a sold-out show this week. The hard camera side was pretty much empty, and this shot was taken during the show. The X account AEW Botches shared a couple of photos along with a caption to explain exactly what fans were seeing with their post. Fair to say tonight's AEW Dynamite was an intimate affair with a very small audience, even though tickets went as low as $4. Still couldn't manage to fill it up. Noted behind the paywall that AEW Dynamite only had 1,000 tickets left to sell this week. Interestingly enough, that is not what the photo reflects at all. Available tickets 919, current setup 4,439, tickets distributed 3,520. The last show here, All Out, they sold 9,039. Rampage sold over 5,500. And Dynamite in August sold over 6,300. And the report goes on to say AEW is having some trouble getting fans to their shows, and that's not really a secret anymore. Hopefully they will be able to turn things around, but AEW All Out is already shaping up to be a big show on Sunday, so hopefully they will do better with those ticket sales. Perhaps AEW needs to start booking smaller venues for shows after their turnout at AEW in London. At Wembley Stadium, this crowd has to be disappointed. So yeah, I am assuming because it was in Chicago and because they pulled Punk, that a lot of people, even if they bought tickets, didn't show up. Punk being from Chicago, that would probably be a big selling point. All right, guys, so I think that's about it for rumors and news for AEW. If you think of anything else that I should have covered, let me know. Other than that, I will see you guys later. Love yous. Bye. Peace.